CSIS will also continue to invest in significant effort in building relationship with individuals, communities, and institutions to establish and sustain trust and to offer support and partnership in protecting Canada's national security and future prosperity. I will conclude by noting that I cannot publicly comment on operational matters and requirements in order to protect the safety and security of Canadians. Nonetheless, I would welcome this opportunity to have a frank and open discussion and answer and try to elucidate any of the questions you may have with my colleagues present here. Merci beaucoup.
Thank you, Director Vigneault, for coming, especially given the circumstances that we're facing today. It's great to have you here. I hope we can get full rounds of questions in this because we've all been very anxiously waiting for you to come here. So over to Mr. Tucker for the first 6 minutes, please.
Thank you, Director Vigneault. On Monday, I asked Minister Champagne if he agreed with the expert witnesses that we heard at this committee that since 2017, the PRC's activities in the sector has come to represent an existential threat to Canada. But the minister, unfortunately, would not accept this position. Do you view the PRC activities as an existential threat to Canada? Yes or no?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, for the question. The role of CSIS is to advise government on threats to national security. We are looking at all vectors of how these threats can manifest themselves. We have been more open publicly, specifically about the PRC's activities, but also about other threat actors in terms of the impact on our sovereignty and our security and future prosperity. And so from that point of view, I think the People's Republic of China have been very clear in their intent, and their actions have demonstrated also the level of their capability to be a threat to our national security. And I would say that indeed the PRC is one actor that, it represents a threat to the country.
A threat or existential threat, by definition, would be then?
Mr. Chair, I understand the member's question. I am, in my position, I don't make the distinction between a threat or an existential threat. I have said publicly, and I have repeated here, that the PRC, in the context of threat to our economic security and research security, is by far the most sophisticated actor that we are dealing with.
Well, Mr. Vigneault, that's deeply troubling, because you've recently made unprecedented appearances along with other Five Eyes allies, which are characterized by the media as because, open quote, because they are alarmed by China, which they say is the greatest espionage threat democracy has ever faced, end quote. That was your words or your signature on a Five Eyes document, if I'm speaking correctly on that, specifically referring to the theft of our technology and secrets. So if you're willing to say that with the other Five Eyes that this is an existential threat, I'm concerned that you're not sharing that view domestically versus the international statement that you guys put out.
Mr. Chair,
or is this the role of the minister should be to say with the briefings that you would have provided, this is existential threat, or it isn't?
So, Mr. Chair, I think it's a very valid point, and I would not want to leave the impression that I would, have different messages, either I'm in Canada or abroad. I think the context of the Five Eyes message, which was unprecedented, that was the first time in history that we appeared in public together, was to essentially send that signal, and those words were chosen carefully to say that. So I do fully endorse, of course, what I'm saying. In the context of the work we do in Canada, in the context of what CSIS' role is to advise government, and in support of what, to complement what the minister has said in his appearance on Monday, I do not see a distinction. I understand that these are not necessarily the same words, but I do stand by the statement I've made with my colleagues about the threat China represents.
Have you briefed the minister personally on the activities of the PRC?
Mr. Chair, I'll be careful about the nature of the briefings I'm giving, but I do believe that it's been said publicly that, I have personally briefed Minister Champagne. I've briefed a number of other ministers. But I'm saying that with the caveat that I cannot confirm or deny all of the briefings I've been given. But in the context here, it's been said, that yes, I have briefed Minister Champagne directly in the past.
So if both you and Minister Champagne won't pronounce this as an existential threat, who will? Would this be, because obviously the same briefing, the information you have all the information you have, the minister has on the activities of PRC. Would that be a rough generalization?
Mr. Chair, the minister is receiving a lot of information, of course, mostly from his department. He's also receiving information through his participation in different committees, and that includes receiving intelligence from CSIS. But I do understand the member's question, and again, I just want to reiterate that, I think the words I've used in this committee in my opening remarks, and the words we've used in our public report and in previous public appearances here in Canada, I've spoken very clearly about the magnitude. I may not have used the word existential threat, but I can tell you that that we are seeing it from that point of view. And maybe if the member, the chair, is indulgent, I would say one of the issues that we have to be very clear about is that the PRC, under the leadership of Xi Jinping, has essentially created an environment that all of the resources of the state is combined under the leadership of the chairman to essentially create the tools for the PRC to succeed in that.
I'm going to run out of time here shortly. I have one last question that I do want to get the answer to is, do you believe that all identities associated with the PRC should be banned from receiving taxpayers' money through research grants at universities in Canada? Yes or no?
Mr. Chair, I think that what is important is to look at the threat specifically. I would say that there is a gradation in terms of the different activities and institutions that are engaged in these activities.
They could be associated with PRC and still get funding.
So thank you for your answers. And now over to Ms. Bradford, please.
Thank you.